You think the Vietnam War was just a war. You're wrong. In 1972, an American soldier saw something that changed his life forever. Today, 50 years later, that secret has come alive. And it can kill everyone who touches it. This is the beginning of the hunt for Vietnam's greatest lost treasure. The hospital room in San Francisco felt colder than ice, but to Captain James Jim Ford, it was hotter than the Siuchi jungles. His breath fought against the rhythm of the machines. Cancer. Months left, the doctor said. His son, Michael, opened a laptop by the bedside. Dad, look at this. Your diary's gone viral on Reddit. Jim's eyes widened. That brown leather diary bought in Vietnam in 1972 was now on the internet. Michael had sold it online to pay bills. On the diary's last pages was that drawing, deep gold, strange symbols like a mix of stars and animals. He'd written, December 18th, 1972, Siuchi Sector, Tunnel Complex, found it. The Golden Shield. It's real. God forgive me. Comments flooded. Fake. Vietnam War treasure myth. This is a cam artifact. 8 millions. One comment. Jim's sole Professeur Lefebvre. Parroted such contact. Jim knew that name. In the 1970s, French archaeologists stole artifacts from Vietnam. Michael, Jim's voice trembled. Get that diary back. It's dangerous. Why, Dad? They're just old memories. No, Jim closed his eyes. They're not memories, they're a warning. And that shield, it's still there, and people will die for it. That night, Jim sent an email. Subject, Sunheria Shield. I know where it is. Recipient, Archaeology Department, Hanoi University. 2,000 miles away, in Hanoi, Professor My Lin opened that email. Her hands shook. Sunheria, the name her father, a Vietnamese historian, had written before his execution. In 1972, American soldiers had killed him, perhaps for this same shield. My Lin replied, Who are you? Jim's answer came, The man who saw your father die. I'm sorry. Now I want to fix it. The shield is not treasure. It's a key, and Lefebvre is coming for it. My Lin opened a photo on her computer, a French newspaper article. Professeur Henri Lefebvre, specializing in Zarex. His eyes were cold as ice. Caption, Preserving History at any cost. My Lin typed, Where do we meet? Jim's final message, Ho Chi Minh City, tomorrow, come alone. But My Lin wasn't alone. She checked her office CCTV footage. 2 foreign men had been lingering outside the university for 2 days. They must have monitored her email. She packed her bag, maps, her father's diary, and a small, licensed pistol. This were longer race. And, before the race had even begun, her opponents knew she was running. As she left her apartment, a black car tailed her. The driver spoke on the phone. Sir, she's moving. Should we take her tonight? In Paris, Professor Lefebvre sipped his sherry. No, let her reach Jim Ford. Capture them both together. They both know the shield's location. We'll wait. The race had begun. On the Vietnam border, an old guide called Tiger lit a fire in the jungle. He read a message on his mobile. New clients coming. American and Vietnamese. Big payment. Prepare tunnels. He smiled and turned off his phone. After the war, he knew only one business. Whoever pays gets help. On the flight to Ho Chi Minh City, Jim Ford looked out the window. He'd thought 50 years ago he'd never return. Inside, his jacket was a .45 pistol. He didn't know who was clean, who was dirty, but he knew one thing: the Sunheria shield was alive. And if it fell into the wrong hands, it wouldn't just be treasure. Lost, it would be Vietnam's culture in danger. He took an old black and white photo from his wallet. 1092 a Vietnamese historian, my Lin's father, both smiling. 1 week later, that historian was dead. By Jim's bullet, he could never confirm. Now, 50 years later, he was going to meet that historian's daughter for thanks or for death. Jim Ford thought he'd buried his past. But the past never dies. It only waits, and now it has awakened. Next, the meeting in Saigon. Chapter 2, the meeting in Saigon. Ho Chi Minh City, once called Saigon, never forgets. Its streets remember every secret, every betrayal. And today, two strangers will meet where their father's blood still whispers from the walls. One seeks forgiveness. The other seeks truth. But the city has ears, and the ears belong to a man who trades in relics and death. The Rex Hotel's rooftop bar overlooked a city caught between war memories and neon dreams. Jim Ford sat facing the entrance, his back to the wall-old soldier's habit, the .45 pressed against his rib cage. Every Western face looked like Lefebvre's man. Every Vietnamese face looked like vengeance. She entered at 3:02 p.m. Professor My Lin was younger than he expected, but her eyes held the same fierce intelligence as her father's. She wore practical clothes, but her posture was pure academic dignity. She didn't smile as she sat. "You're Captain Ford." "Jim, please." His voice was gravel. "You said you saw my father die." "I did." Jim's hands trembled slightly. December 20th, 1972. Siu Chi Tunnels. "We were searching for Viet Cong. Found a hidden chamber. Your father was there, studying the wall carvings. He had a notebook. He said he was protecting history." My Lin's eyes glistened. "What happened?" My lieutenant ordered him out. "Refusé." Said the chamber was a cam temple, not a military site. Jim looked away. Shots were fired. Not by me, but when I reached him, he was dying. He grabbed my arm, ... put his notebook in my hand, whispered one word: Sunheria. Then he pointed to a crack in the wall. Inside, I saw gold, the shield. I only took a piece. A small fragment with one symbol. The rest was too big, too heavy. I hid it deeper in the tunnel, marked the spot in my diary. Jim pushed a small cloth bundle across the table. "This is that fragment." My Lin unwrapped it. A palm-sized piece of golden metal, intricately carved with a serpent dragony bead. It felt warm, almost alive. "This is Cam, 9th century. The symbol is Naga, water deity. But this style, it's unique. That's why Lefebvre wants it. This isn't just art. Your father's notebook, I lost it in the war. But I remember his theory. The shield isn't one object. Itegate samap." Each fragment points to a different cam temple across Vietnam. Together, they reveal something bigger. A library, maybe, or a vault. My Lin leaned forward. "Why come back now?" "Because Lefebvre has the other pieces. Over the years, he's been buying them from black markets, looters. He only needs this last fragment to complete the map, and your father's notebook. I think Lefebvre has it." Because after your father died, a French archaeologist visited the site, took everything. His name was in the reports Henri Lefebvre, then a young rich student. A waiter approached. Mylene covered the fragment. To coffees, please. But as the waiter left, he dropped a napkin on the table. On it, scribbled in hurried Vietnamese, "They're here. 3 men. Left staircase. Go now." Jim's soldier instincts fired. He threw money on the table. Back exit. Move. They weaved through the kitchen, emerging into a steaming alley. The smell of fish sauce and petrol filled the air. A motorcycle revved nearby. On it sat a wiry old man with a scar across his cheek, looking for Tiger. Get on, fast. They hesitated. From the hotel entrance, 3 European-looking men burst out, scanning the street. No time. The old man barked. Jim Ford. "Yes, your friend in Pentagon called me. Move." They climbed on. The motorcycle shot through Saigon's chaotic traffic, leaving their pursuers behind. Tiger spoke over his shoulder. Lefebvre's men been here 2 weeks. They have photos of both of you. Now they know you're together. Where are we going? Mylene shouted. To the war. Where else? He took them to Chalin, the Chinese district, to a crumbling building that smelled of incense and decay. Inside, maps covered the walls. Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, marked with red pins. My office. Tiger grinned. I find things for right price. Jim studied him. You were Viet Cong. Tunnel rat. Siuchi, like you. Now I'm businessman. He lit a cigarette. Lefebvre hired me too. Wanted me to find you. Offered $50,000. Why didn't you? Mylene asked. Because Frenchman lies. He says he preserves history, but he sells it. To private collectors in Dubai, Monaco. Vietnamese history belongs in Vietnam. Tiger tapped a map. Your shield pieces are here, here, and here. He pointed to central Vietnam coast. Cam temples, most destroyed, looted. But pieces are hidden in tunnels nearby, war tunnels. Jim understood. We used camp tunnels as bunkers, their temples as storage. Yes, and your fragment, Tiger pointed to the golden piece, is the key. It has location symbols. See these marks. He showed magnifying glass. Tiny dots formed a pattern. Stars. Camastronomy map. Points to an Emesan sanctuary. Complex. A secret annex. Lost for centuries. Mylene's breath caught. MYSN was heavily bombed. Most is rubble. Exactly. Perfect hiding place. Tiger's phone buzzed. He read it, face darkening. Lefebvre is moving. He knows you have fragment. He's flying to Da Nang tonight with armed team. Jim stood. Then we go now. Beat him there. Da Nang is 500 miles. How? Mylene asked. Tiger smiled, showing gold teeth. Old friend has cargo plane. Hauls things. Leaves in 1 hour, but price is high. We'll pay, Jim said. Not money. Lefebvre's men will be watching airport. We need distraction. Tiger looked at Mylene. You have university credentials. Can you access Museum of Cam Sculpture in Da Nang? Yes, it's my research base. Good. Go publicly. Give lecture. Something. Be visible. While Lefebvre watches you, Jim and I go to MYSN. No, Jim said. She's a target alone. I have friends at museum, Tiger said. She be safe. And we need someone inside museum. Lefebvre wants something there too. What? My Lin asked. Father's notebook. Not lost. It's in museum archive. Classified. Curator is Lefever's man. Tonight, he plans to steal it during museum event. My Lin's eyes hardened. Then I'll be there, and I'll stop him. The plan was set. A dangerous ballet across Vietnam. My Lin to Da Nang, museum as bait and guardian. Jim and Tiger to the jungle to find the shield's hiding place. All while a Frenchman with unlimited resources and no morals closed in. As they prepared to leave, Tiger handed Jim a worn pistol. For tunnels, same as old days. Yes? Jim took it, the weight familiar and hated. I hoped never to hold one again. War never ends, Captain. It just changes uniforms. Outside, Saigon's neon lights flickered. Somewhere in the city, Lefever's men were regrouping. In Paris, Lefever himself packed a case not with archaeological tools, but with silenced pistols, cash and forged documents, and in the jungle near My-Sn, the shield waited. Not just gold, but a story. A story that could rewrite history or bury everyone who sought it. 2 teams, 1 treasure. A professor in a den of thieves, a veteran returning to his nightmares, and a Frenchman who collects nations' souls. The jungle is waiting, and in the darkness of the tunnels, the past is armed and ready. Next, the Museum Heist. Chapter 3, The Museum Heist. Da Nang's Museum of Cam sculpture holds over 2,000 artifacts, but only one notebook holds the key to Vietnam's greatest secret. Tonight, while a professor gives a lecture on preservation, a thief will try to steal her father's life's work. But some legacies are not meant to be sold. They're meant to be protected with blood. The museum was a colonial-era building, its yellow walls glowing under floodlights. Inside, under high arches, stone gods and goddesses from the lost Champa kingdom stood frozen in silent dance. My Lin stood at the podium, her voice echoing in the grand hall. The Champa civilization was not destroyed by war alone, but by the theft of its memory. Every artifact smuggled out is a page ripped from our national story. The audience diplomats, academics, a few tourists nodded politely, but my Lin's eyes scanned the crowd. There, a European man in a tailored suit, too elegant for Da Nang's humidity. He wasn't listening. He was watching the curator, Mr. Van, who stood nervously by the archive door. Lefebvre's main. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. A text from Tiger. At My-Sn, jungle hut. Eyes everywhere. You okay? She typed quickly. Lefebvre's man here. He'll make move after lecture. Another text, this time from Jim, sent via satellite phone, found tunnel entrance. Symbols match your fragment. Going in at dawn. Stay safe. Safe? The word felt foreign. Tiger's friend, a former police officer turned museum guard, stood at the back, giving her a slight nod. The lecture ended to soft applause. The European man approached, smiling. Professeur Emai Fastoc, Amero, Belgien cultural attaché. His French accent was perfect, but his eyes were Lefebvre-esque cold, assessing. Thank you. Are you interested in Cam history? Very much. In fact, I've heard of your father's groundbreaking work. His notebook on Cam astronomy is legendary in European circles. I'd love to see it, if possible. There's a reason it's not displayed, she said carefully. It's fragile, and its contents are sensitive. Of course, but for a fellow scholar. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. Professor Lefebvre sends his regards. He says the notebook belongs in a proper research institution, not hidden away here, so it was a direct move. Bold. My father's work stays in Vietnam. Moreau's smile didn't falter. A tragedy. Knowledge should have no borders. He handed her a card. If you change your mind, my offer stands. A significant donation to your department. As he left, my Lin felt a chill. The play was beginning. At 10 p.m., the museum closed. Most staff left. Only tonight, guards remained. One of them Tiger's friend, Sergeant Tao. He'll try tonight, Thou said, checking his gun. The curator, Van, stayed late. Said he had paperwork. Where's the notebook? Archive room, be behind 3 locks. But Van has all the keys. They took positions in the shadowy sculpture gallery. The stone deities seemed to watch with ancient eyes. Hours passed. Then, at 1:17 a.m., a soft click echoed. The archive door opened. A flashlight beam cut through the darkness. To figure the Belgian attache. My Lin's heart hammered. She signaled Thou, who moved silently to cut off their exit. In the archive, Moreau spoke softly. Hurry, the notebook is in drawer 7, according to Lefebvre's source. I'm risking everything, Van whispered, his hands shaking as he unlocked drawers. You're being paid enough. Now, the notebook. Van pulled out a worn, leather-bound journal. Mylene's breath caught. Her father's handwriting on the cover, Chem, celestial alignments minus 1972. Moreau reached for it. Excellent. Now, the map inside. That's enough. Mylene stepped into the doorway, gun raised. Thou blocked the exit behind her. Van dropped the notebook. S'espère, Moreau sighed as if he just pressed. I hoped you'd be sensible. The notebook stays. Or shoot. Moreau smiled you're not a soldier. And your guard. He nodded toward Thou. À that moment, third emerged from the shadow behind Thou, pressing onto his head, another of Lefebvre's men. Now, Moreau said smoothly, picking up the notebook. We'll believe you for your friend dies. If you call police, Lefebvre will release documents proving your father collaborated with Americans. His name will be mud. Your career finished. Mylene's gun wavered. The stone gods watched, impassive. Then, from the darkness, a voice. I think you forgot someone. Jim Ford stepped into the light, his face streaked with dirt, his clothes torn from the jungle. In his hands, he held a large, broken piece of golden shield glittering under the flashlight. Moreau's eyes widened. The shield fragment bigger than fragment, Jim said, his voice tired but steady. The main funditine mess and tunnel. Tiger's outside with the rest. Now, drop the notebook. But Moreau panic et calcula, Ted, you have one gun. We have 2, and we have hostage. Suddenly, the museum's alarm blared deafening, flashing red lights. Tiger's voice came over Thou's radio. Cops coming. Someone tipped them, Moreau swore. Van, you idiot, I didn't. Van cried. It was Mylene. She'd pressed the silent alarm under the podium earlier. Now, chaos was the plan. In the confusion, Thou elbowed his captor, grabbing his gun. Shots rang out, echoing off stone. Moreau pushed Van toward Mylene and bolted, clutching the notebook. Stop him. Jim yelled. Mylene and Jim gave chase, leaving Thou to handle the other gunmen. They ran past towering Shiva statues through corridors of bas-reliefs. Moreau was heading for the rear delivery entrance. He burst into the conservation lab, knocking over trays of tools. As he reached the exit door, My Lin tackled him. They fell, the notebooks skidding across the floor. Moreau, My Lin rolled, the blade cutting her arm. Jim arrived, aiming his gun. Drop it. Moreau laughed, blood on his lips. Lefebvre wins anyway. He has photos of the notebook's key pages. Sent them before I even entered. The map is already his. He lunged at Jim. A shot echoed. No Jim stress. From the doorway, Tiger stood, smoke curling from his pistol. Moreau collapsed. Silence, except for the wailing sirens approaching. Tiger walked over, checked Moreau. Alive, but he won't talk. He looked at Jim and My Lin. You two are mess. Jim helped My Lin up, wrapping her bleeding arm with his bandana. The map, Lefebvre has it, she said, despair in her voice. Ouais, fais-le. Not entirely. Tiger picked up the notebook, opening to the last pages. Your father was clever. The map here is in code. Requires the shield pieces to decipher. Lefebvre has photos, yes. But without the actual shield fragments to align with the symbols. It's just pretty pictures. Jim held up the large golden piece he'd brought. Then we still have time. Where does the map lead? Examined her father's writing under the emergency lights. Not one location. 3. The shield pieces are keys to 3 different temples. Each holds part of a larger truth. Lefebvre will need to find all 3. Where are they? Jim asked. The first messen. Where is he? She pointed to a sketch of a coastal tower. Punagar Temple, Natron. The 3rd, she traced a line to a mountain. In the Central Highlands. Aplaska le Dragon Jom. Police cars come to go, Tiger said. My Natron next. But the police, My Lin started. We'll find a Belgian, thief shot during attempted robbery. We have friends in department. No, Mauve. They slipped out the back as police swarmed the front. In a waiting jeep, Tiger drove them toward a dark airstrip outside the city. As they sped away, My Lin looked back at the museum, her father's notebook clutched to her chest. He knew this would happen. That's why he split the shield, to protect the truth. What truth? Jim asked, cleaning his gun in the dim light. That the Cam weren't just a kingdom, they were guardians. Of something older. Something that could change how we see human history. She looked at him. My father believed they protected a library, not of books, of crystals that store knowledge. A technology we can't understand. Jim stared. And Lefebvre wants to weaponize it, or sell it to the highest bidder. Either way, it's the end of the story. The jeep reached the airstrip. A battered C-47 cargo plane stood ready, engines roaring. As they boarded, Tiger handed Jim a backpack. Supplies, guns, maps, and this. It was a satellite phone. Call if you die. I'll send flowers. Ahead, Nha Trang and the second piece of the shield. In a luxury hotel suite in Da Nang, Professor Henry Lefebvre watched the police lights from his window. He sipped cognac, unbothered. On his laptop, the Nha Trang location. His phone rang. Sir, Moreau is captured. The notebook is lost. Unimportant, Lefebvre said. We have what we need. Send team to Tepi Naga Temple. Use force if necessary. I want that shield piece before they land. He ended the call, examining a glass case on his desk. Inside lay 5 other golden fragments of the Sunheria shield, each glowing under the lamp. Only 3 pieces remained missing. Soon, he would have them all. And then, the real treasure would be his, not for study. Fort compte. Onze plan. Malin Ben Jim studied the maps. The storm rattled the old aircraft. Somewhere, below, in the dark South China Sea, history waited. And in the jungle, ancient stones whispered warnings only the desperate could hear. 3 pieces left, to teams racing. 1 Frenchman pulling strings from the shadows. The next temple isn't just ruins, it's a living trap. Set centuries ago to protect secrets no modern weapon can breach. Next, the drowning Chapter 4, the drowning temple. P. Nugger Temple has stood on the coast of Nha Trang for 1,000 years, where the Cam Kingdom met the sea. But its greatest secret isn't in its towers, it's beneath them. Guarded by tides, traps, and a legend that says those who seek the shield as second piece must be willing to drown in history. The cargo plane landed on a remote strip carved into the jungle just before dawn. The air in Nha Trang was thick with salt and humidity. Tiger had arranged a boater-weathered fishing vessel called the Blue Dragon, captained by a silent woman named Wian, whose family had fished these waters since Cam times. Tide waits for no one, Wian said, her eyes on the horizon. The lower chamber of P. Nugger is only accessible during the lowest tide of the month. That's in 4 hours. After that, the sea seals it for another 30 days. Jim studied the temple complex through binoculars. The 4 brick towers rose against the pink morning sky, tourists already gathering. We can't go in with crowds. We're not going through the front, my Lin said, spreading her father's notebook on the boat's deck. She pointed to a sketch of an underwater passage. The Cam built a submerged entrance from the seaside, used by priests during rituals. It leads to a chamber under the central tower. And the shield pieces there? Jim asked. According to my father's notes, yes. But he warns, the Chamber of Echoes does not give up its guardian lightly. Wian nodded grimly. Local fishermen tell stories. They hear drums from under the water at low tide. Some who went in never came out. Jim checked his gear, waterproof torch, pistol in a plastic bag, rope. Lefebvre's men will be here too. As if on cue, Tiger's voice crackled over the satellite phone. Team to just landed at Cam Ranh Airport. 6 men, heavily armed, led by a German mercenary named Krause. They'll be at the temple in 1 hour. We move now, Jim said. Wian guided the boat around the rocky coastline, away from the tourist entrance. Here, the South China Sea crashed against ancient stones. She anchored over a patch of unnaturally still water. Here, the entrance is below. 20 feet down, a tunnel in the rock. You'll have 40 minutes before the tide turns. When you turn to inside, Jim and my Lin geared up. As she pulled on her diving mask, she looked at Jim. You don't have to come. This is my family's legacy. I made a promise to your father, Jim said simply. Let's finish this. They slipped into the water. The world became a green, silent haze. Following Hyen's directions, they found the tunnel a dark mouth in the seabed, barely wide enough for one person. Jim went first, his torch cutting through the gloom. The tunnel sloped upward. Ancient carvings of sea serpents and dancers lined the walls, covered in algae. After 50 feet, they emerged into an air pocketer cavern with a ceiling just above the waterline. They pulled themselves onto a stone ledge, gasping, the Chamber of Echoes. It was a circular room, the walls covered in intricate bas-reliefs showing Kam kings and celestial maps. In the center stood a stone pedestal. On it rested the second piece of the Sunheria shield. But it wasn't just a fragment. This piece was larger, shaped like a crescent moon, gleaming as if lit from within. Around the pedestal, the floor was inlaid with a mosaic of pressure plates. Trapped, Jim whispered, his voice echoing strangely in the chamber. My Lin examined the carvings. It's a puzzle. The steps must be taken in the correct order, following the stars in the constellation Serpens. My father's notebook has the sequence. She read aloud. Follow the serpent's tail, not its head. Step where the moon touches water. Jim shone his light. The mosaic showed a serpent coiling around stars. Some tiles were slightly depressed. There, the tail stars. He stepped carefully on the first tile. A deep click echoed, but nothing happened. Step by step, he crossed the floor. My Lin followed precisely in his footsteps. They reached the pedestal. As My Lin reached for the shield piece, a grinding sound filled the chamber. From the walls, stone panels slid open, and water began to pour in not from the tunnel, but from hidden channels. The tide's turning, Jim yelled. It's flooding the chamber. My Lin grabbed the crescent piece. It was heavy, cold. As she lifted it, the pedestal sank, and a stone door slid open on the far side of the chamber and exit. Go, Jim pushed her toward it. They splashed through rising water. The door led to a narrow staircase carved into rock, winding upward. Behind them, the chamber filled with terrifying speed. Declambed breathed a small cove inside temple complex. They could hear tourists above, the sound of guides explaining Kam history. They were behind a carved screen, unseen. My Lin hid the shield piece in her bag. We need to blend in and get out. But as they stepped in courtyard, Tessot and Krause's men scowled. Krause was a mountain of a man, a scar across his shaved head. He held a photo, comparing it to faces. Jim pulled My Lin behind a large stone lingam. They're checking everyone. We can't go out the front. They'll have it covered. Jim's eyes fell on a group of French tourists being led by a guide. Change of plan. He approached the guide, speaking in rapid French. Excuse me, my wife and I got separated from our group. Could we join yours? We'll pay. The guide, eager for extra cash, agreed. Jim and My Lin fell in line, donning hats from their bags, hiding their faces. They moved with the group toward the exit. Krause's eyes paired them out. Ten mauvais dons. They were almost at the gate when one of Krause's men, studying a tablet, suddenly looked up. Sir, thermal scan shows to wet signatures in the crowd. There, Krause turned, stopped them. Chaos erupted. Tourists screamed as Krause's men pushed through. Jim grabbed My Lin's hand. Run! They broke from the group, sprinting through the temple complex, dodging between towers. A gunshot rang out silenced, but the thud of a bullet hitting stone was unmistakable. Wian had moved the boat closer to the shore. She waved frantically from the water. Jump! They reached the cliff edge. The boat was 15 feet below, rocking in the waves. Krause and his men closed in. Jump or die, Jim yelled. Daily bed. The impact with the water knocked the breath from them. Wian pulled them aboard, gunning the engine. The boat shot away from the shore as more silenced shots hit the water around them. Krause stood on the cliff, watching them escape. He spoke into a radio. They have the second piece moving south. Prepare the welcome party. On the boat, my Lynn coughed up seawater. The crescent shield piece was safe in her bag. But Jim was clutching his side. He fussball. A red stare shirt. You're hit. Grazed, he grunted. Not deep. But Lefevre knows where we're going next. We set a course away from the coast. Where to? My Lynn opened her father's notebook to the final map. The Central Highlands, Dragon's Jaw Mountain. The third and final piece. Jim leaned against the boat's side, wrapping his wound. What's at Dragon's Jaw? Not a temple, my Lynn said quietly. A tomb. The tomb of the last Cam king, who swore to protect the shield's secret with his life. And according to legend, he didn't die alone. He's guarded by something not human. The boat cut through the waves. Behind them, Nha Trang faded. Ahead lay the mist-shrouded mountains of the Central Highlands, where the final piece waited, and where Lefevre would make his last stand. 2 pieces found, 1 to go. But the last piece ISNT just hidden it as protected by a legend that has terrified locals for centuries. As Jim's strength fades and Lefevre's net tightens, the final race will be fought not just with guns, but with the very myths of Vietnam. Next, the mountain that breathes. Chapter 5, the mountain that breathes. The Central Highlands of Vietnam hold secrets older than kingdoms. Here, where the fog clings like ghosts and the mountains whisper in forgotten tongues, lies Dragon's Jaw, a place marked on no modern map, but etched in blood in Cam legends. To find the final piece of the Sunheria shield, one must survive the mountain that is said to breathe, hunt, and remember. We docked the fishing boat at a remote river pier deep in Janik Elesik province. The air was cooler here, thick with the scent of wet earth and blooming coffee plants. Jim's wound had been stitched with fishing line and antiseptic, but pain-etched lines around his eyes. He moved slower, but his determination burned brighter. A jeep awaited them, arranged by Tiger through his network of wartime contacts. The driver was a Montagnard tribesman named Cabro, whose people had lived in these highlands for millennia. His face was a map of wrinkles, his eyes holding the patience of the mountains. Dragon's Jaw, Cabro said in halting Vietnamese, pointing to a mist-shrouded peak in the distance. Me people kalit nya me rank the mountains, and Miss Rice right breath. And sometimes voices. My Lynn asked, checking Jim's bandages. Cam priests, they never left. There, spirits guard the king's tomb. Cabro looked at them solemnly. Weidig was lost, Emmeline said. Many have tried. Most do not return. The mountain does not like thieves. As they drove up winding dirt roads, Tiger's voice came through the satellite phone, tense. Lefevre's main team is already in the highlands. They have a local guide, a corrupt ex-military officer who knows the terrain. They're maybe 6 hours ahead of you. And Jim, there's a bounty on your head. $100,000 alive, $50,000 dead. Lefevre wants the shield, but he wants you more. He thinks you know something extra. Jim grimaced. I know nothing he doesn't. Maybe, but he believes you do. Be careful. The jeep could go no further. The trail to Dragon's Jaw was a narrow path through dense jungle. Cabro handed them packs. Food, water, medicine, and this. He gave my Lynn a small leather pouch. Herbe. If the mountain's breath makes you sleepy, smell this. It clears the mind. "What's in the mountain's breath?" Jim asked. "Some say poison, gas from old caves. Some say ghost words that make men lose their way. I say, both." They began the ascent. The jungle was a green cathedral, alive with the calls of unseen birds and the rustle of creatures in the canopy. The path was steep, tangled with roots. Jim's breath grew labored, his side throbbing with each step. After 3 hours, they reached a clearing. Before them stood a stone archway, half consumed by vines. Cam carvings were still visible, a dragon coiled around a mountain, its jaw open wide. "The jaw," My Lin whispered, consulting her father's notebook. "The tomb is through here, in the heart of the mountain." But as they approached, they saw signs of recent passage, boot prints in the mud, a discarded protein bar wrapper. Lefebvre's team. "They're close," Jim said, drawing his pistol. They moved through the arch into a narrow canyon. The air grew colder. And then they heard it, a deep, rhythmic sound, like a giant sighing. Whoosh, pause, whoosh. The mountain breathing. Mist began to curl from fissures in the rock, smelling faintly of sulfur and something sweet, like rotting flowers. "The herbs," Jim said, his head already feeling light. My Lin opened Cabro's pouch. They inhaled the sharp, bitter scent. Their minds cleared slightly. The canyon opened into a large cavern. And there they found Lefebvre's advance team, or what remained of them. 4 men lay on the ground, their faces frozen in terror, but no visible wounds. Their guns were still in their hands, unfired. A 5th man, the ex-military guide, was crouched against a wall, muttering in Vietnamese, eyes wide with madness. Ghosts. The shadows moved. They spoke my name. Jim checked the bodies. No blood, no marks. What killed them? My Lin examined the air, the breath. It's not just gas. Listen, the sighing sound was louder here. And within it, faintly, they could hear whispers. Vietnamese, Cam, French, English overlapping. Fragment. Turn back. The king sleeps. Mine, it's all mine. Infrasound, my Lin realized. Low-frequency sound, waves from the caves. It can induce panic, hallucinations, even cardiac arrest. The Cam priests weaponized the mountain itself. The mad guide suddenly pointed past them, screaming, "They're coming." The silent ones. From deeper shadows, figures emerged. Not ghosts men, in modern gear, gas masks covering their faces. Lefebvre's main team, prepared for the mountain's defense. Krause stepped forward, his masked voice distorted. "Captain Ford, you're more resilient than expected." Hand over the shield pieces and the professor. "Lefebvre might let you live. Where is he?" Jim asked, positioning himself in front of my Lin, close. "He doesn't get his hands dirty, but I do." Krause raised a rifle. "Last chance." Then, from above, a voice echoed. "I believe that is my line, Herr Krause." Tiger stood on a ledge, aiming a hunting rifle down. Behind him, a dozen Montagnard tribesmen appeared, armed with bows, spears, and a few old rifles. Cabro was among them. "The mountain does not like outsiders," Tiger said calmly. "And today, I am the mountain, a standoff." Krause's 6 men against Tiger's tribesmen, but Tiger smiled. "You hear the breathing. It's about to get louder." He nodded to Cabro, who threw a small bundle into a fissure. A moment later, a deep boom echoed, and the mountain's sigh became a roar. The infrasound intensified. Even with the herbs, Jim and my Lin felt nausea, disorientation. Krause's men staggered. One fired wildly, the shot ricocheting. Chaos erupted. Tiger's tribesmen fired arrows, striking with uncanny accuracy. Jim pushed my Lin toward a side passage. The tomb. Go. I'll hold them. Jim, no. Finish it. My Lin. For your father. She ran, clutching the bag with the 2 shield pieces. The passage sloped down into darkness. The whispers here were clearer, almost guiding her. This way, daughter of knowledge. This way, she emerged into a vast, circular chamber. Inze Sante, a skeleton in remnants of royal robes, the last Cam King. In his skeletal hands rested the third and final piece of the Sunheria shield, a circular centerpiece, larger than the others, depicting a radiant sun. But standing before it, elegant and calm, as if in a Paris gallery, was Professor Henry Lefebvre. He held a small device, a portable infrasound emitter which he switched off. The whispers died. Professor Mai, I knew you'd come. You have your father's perseverance. How did you get here? An older tunnel, the king's escape route. I've known about it for years. He gestured to the shield piece. Magnificent, isn't it? The complete shield, when assembled, is not just a map. Itegate sake. A key to a vault of crystallized knowledge the Cam discovered. Imagine ancient, advanced technology waiting to be reverse engineered. It belongs to Vietnam. History is written by those who preserve it. I preserve it. In my private collection, where it will be appreciated. He drew a sleek, silenced pistol. Now, your pieces, please. Outside, the sounds of fighting continued. Jim was out there, wounded. Tiger was buying time. She was alone. My Lin slowly took the 2 shield pieces from her bag. As she did, her fingers brushed her father's notebook. She remembered his final entry, one she hadn't fully understood until now. The true guardian is not the king, but the mountain, and the mountain listens to blood. She looked at the skeleton, at the way the sun emblem on the shield piece pointed to a specific carving on the wall, a carving of a dragon with a deep slot in its mouth. You want the pieces, she said. Catch. She didn't throw them to Lefebvre. She threw them toward the dragon carving. The crescent, moon piece, and the fragment from Siuchi clattered against the wall and fell into the slot in the dragon's mouth. A deep grinding shook the chamber. The stone beer sank, and the king's skeleton collapsed. From the walls, hidden channels opened, and water began to gush in ancient aquifers. Triggered. Fool, Lefebvre aimed, but the chamber trembled violently. A stone block fell, separating them. The water rose fast. My Lin grabbed the final sun piece from the king's hands and waded toward the exit. Lefebvre, on the other side of the block, was trapped, screaming curses. She emerged into the main cavern. The fight was over. Krause and his men were disarmed, held by the tribesmen. Jim leaned against a wall, bleeding but alive, Tiger supporting him. The third piece, she gasped, holding up the sun emblem. But the mountain was not done. The triggered water was flooding the lower chambers. The whole cavern system was groaning. We must go, now. Dije yele. As they ran back through the canyon, the mountain's breath became a death rattle. Behind them, they heard Lefebvre's final scream, swallowed by stone and water. They reached the jungle as the sun set. Behind them, Dragon's jaw settled. its secret sealed once more. At the jeep, Cabro looked at the 3 shield pieces in My Lin's hands. Now you have them all. What will you do? My Lin looked at Jim, at Tiger, at the tribesmen who had risked their lives. She thought of her father, of the Cam King, of a history that refused to be owned. We assemble the shield. Not to unlock a vault for one man's greed, but to learn what the Cam wanted us to know, and we do it where the world can see. Jim nodded, pain and relief in his eyes. Where? Hanoi National Museum, publicly, with the world watching, so no one can ever steal it again. The mist rose around Dragon's jaw like a final breath of approval. The mountain had guarded its secret. Now it was time for the secret to guard the future. 3 pieces, 1 complete truth. But assembling the Sunheria shield is only the beginning. For what it reveals will force a choice, share a discovery that could change humanity, or bury it again, knowing men like Lefebvre will always hunt it. The final chapter isn't about finding treasure, it's about deciding its fate. Next, The Last Guardian. Chapter 6. The Last Guardian. 3 pieces of an ancient shield have been recovered, but one question remains. What were they designed to protect? And more importantly, who gets to decide if that secret should see the light of day? In a world where history is a currency and truth is a weapon, the final act of guardianship is not about possession, but sacrifice. The private players discreet contact carried them from the chaos of the Central Highlands to the controlled order of Hanoi. Jim Ford slept fitfully in his seat. His wound properly dressed by a discreet Dr. Tiger knew. The 3 pieces of the Sunheria shield lay on the table between them, wrapped in protective cloth. In the cabin's low light, they seemed to hum with a silent, ancient energy. My Lin stared out the window at the patchwork of rice fields below. My father wrote that the shield is a key, but also a test. The heart of Sunheria will only open for a heart that is pure in intent. He thought it was metaphorical. After Dragon's jaw, Jim said, opening his eyes, I'm not ruling anything out. Tiger, nursing a whiskey, scrolled through a secure tablet. Lefebvre is confirmed dead in the mountain collapse. His organization is in chaos, but the appetite for the shield hasn't died. I'm intercepting chatter. Collectors, Asandikatin Makode in Switzerland all have got. They know the pieces are together. They're coming. Which is why we go public, My Lin said firmly. The National Museum is the most secure cultural institution in Vietnam. We assembled the shield there under the eyes of the government, the press, and the world. It won't stop them from trying, Jim warned. No, she agreed. But it will make stealing it an act of war against a nation, not just a theft from individuals. The plane landed at a military airfield on the outskirts of Hanoi. They were met not by museum officials, but by a delegation from the Ministry of Culture and a stern-faced colonel from Vietnamese intelligence. The chase, it seemed, had reached the highest levels. The next 48 hours were a blur of secure rooms, debriefings, and scientific preparation. The museum's top conservators built a special climate-controlled chamber in the center of the main hall. News of the Cam shield discovery was strategically leaked, creating a media storm. The world was watching. The day of the assembly dawned clear and tense. The museum was surrounded by security, both visible and hidden. Inside, under the watchful eyes of cameras, officials. and a carefully selected audience of scholars, the 3 pieces were laid on a velvet-lined table. Et Maïline, dresse dina traditio dai, stud before the crowd. Jim and Tiger watched from the side, their roles now those of protectors in the shadows. Today, she began, her voice amplified in the hushed hall. We do not just reassemble metal, we reconnect a broken lineage. We fulfill a promise made centuries ago. With gloved hands, and following diagrams from her father's notebook, she began. First, the crescent moon piece from P. Naga. It clicked into a socket on the left of the central sun piece from Dragon's Jaw. A soft, resonant tone echoed in the chamber, making the audience stir. Next, the serpent fragment from Siyu Chi. It slid into place on the right. The final connection was made. For a moment, nothing. Then, the carved channels on the shield lines that had seemed merely decorative began to glow with a soft, internal blue light. The metal itself seemed to warm, not with heat, but with a vibration felt in the bones of those nearby. A complex, 3-dimensional map of stars and mountain ranges projected faintly into the air above the shield before fading. A collective gasp filled the room. But the real revelation was on the shield's now complete surface. The interlocking symbols formed clear, instructions not to a vault of gold, but to a geographical coordinate. A location not in Vietnam, but in the remote highlands of Laos. It's not a treasure map, My Lin announced, her heart racing. It's a compass, pointing to the library of Sunheria. The museum director, an elderly man with sharp eyes, stepped forward. A library of what? Of knowledge, she said, reading the translated script forming in her mind from the patterns. The Cam were not just builders and warriors, they were chroniclers. They recorded astronomy, medicine, sustainable agriculture, philosophy from across ancient Asia. They saw empires rise and fall and hid the sum of that knowledge to preserve it through the ages. This shield is its call. The intelligence kernel moved quickly. This changes everything. That site is beyond our border. We must secure it immediately before looters or other governments. A debate erupted in hushed, urgent tones. This was no longer an archaeological find. It was a geopolitical asset. That night, in a secure conference room, the decision was made. A joint Vietnamese-Lao scientific expedition, heavily protected, would depart at dawn for the coordinates. My Lin would lead. Jim and Tiger were offered advisory roles, but Jim declined. I'm a soldier, he told My Lin privately in the museum garden. My war is over. I helped you find this. Now, you have to decide what to do with it. You're not coming to Laos. He shook his head, looking older than his years. I came back to Vietnam to make peace with your father's ghost. I think I have. What's in that library? It's for people like you. Not broken old men like me. She took his hand. You're not broken. You're the reason this is happening. He gave a rare, true smile. Then let that be enough. Tiger, however, had a different plan. I'm going, he told Jim. Someone has to watch her back. And besides, he grinned, I want to see this library. I spent my life in tunnels hiding from bombs. Maybe it's time I walked into one, looking for books. The expedition moved with military precision. The coordinates led to a hidden valley in the Onamite Range, untouched by modern roads. There, beneath a massive, natural stone arch that perfectly aligned, with the constellation on the shield at dawn, they found the entrance. It was not a grand temple, but a simple, heavy door of aged wood and inlaid metal, indistinguishable from the rock face until you stood before it. In its center was a perfect indentation the shape of the Sunheria shield. With the world's media linked via satellite, My Lin pressed the reassembled shield into the door. A sound like a deep, ancient sigh rolled from the mountain. The door slid open, no wage but the stone. Beyond lay not darkness, but a soft, sourceless light. The library of Sunheria. It was not a room of scrolls or books. It was a forest of crystal stall, luminous pillars of quartz and other minerals arranged in rows. As light from the door hit them, images, text, and complex diagrams were projected onto the walls in a shimmering dance. The knowledge wasn't written. It was stored in the crystalline structure, a technology so advanced it seemed like magic. The team of scientists stood in stunned silence. They were looking at the intact memory of a civilization. My Lin approached the central crystal. As she touched it, a projection resolved, the face of a Cam elder, speaking in a forgotten language, with subtitles somehow forming in modern Vietnamese. We who are leaving this record greet you who have found it. We saved not gold, but light. Use it to see further than we did. In that moment, the purpose was clear. This was not for one nation to own or one man to sell. It was a gift to humanity's future. The decision was broadcast. The Library of Sunheria would be placed under the joint stewardship of UNESCO and a Council of Southeast Asian nations. It would be studied, its knowledge slowly and carefully translated and shared for the benefit of all. Watching the broadcast from a quiet cafe in Hanoi, Jim Ford sipped his coffee. On the screen, My Lin står the Christors of Karate. The news anchor called it the greatest historical discovery of the century. A man slid into the seat opposite him. It was the colonel from intelligence. She did it because of you. Because of her father, Jim corrected. The bounty on your head has been neutralised. Our friends in various agencies had words with Lefebvre's clients. You are a free man, Captain Ford. What will you do? Jim looked out at the busy Hanoi street, at life moving on. I think I'll stay a while. Learn about the country I once only knew through a gun sight. Back in the valley, as the sun set, Tiger stood guard at the library entrance. My Lin joined him. It's over, she said. Tiger chuckled, lighting a cigarette. For you, Professor. For me, a new job begins, guarding the biggest secret in the world. He looked at her. You did good. Your father would be proud. She looked back at the softly glowing entrance. The shield, its purpose fulfilled, was now a museum piece, a symbol. The real treasure was inside, waiting to teach. The war for the past was over. The work for the future had just begun. And so, the hunt for the Sunheria shield reached its end, not in a blaze of gunfire, but in the quiet light of understanding. Some treasures are meant to be found, not to enrich one person, but to enlighten all people. We hope this story of history, mystery, and redemption stayed with you. If you were captivated by this journey from the jungles of Vietnam to the heart of a lost civilization, then please do us a great service. Subscribe to Funny Fun Audiobook Gala. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who believes that the greatest adventures are often hidden in the pages of our past. There are countless more stories waiting to be told, and we can't wait to bring them to you. Until next time, keep listening and keep discovering. Goodbye.